This is the SF90 by Ferrari as reproduced by Bbuargo. And just looking at the paint on this, the paint is really good on this model. It's a nice, evenly applied paint. It has a very nice gloss to it. The one thing that I'm not surprised at, but I will point out, is that a model at this price point, the paint is not going to be wet sanded or thoroughly buffed out. And you can tell that when you look at in a reflection or you look under the lights for this model, and you will see what's called an orange peel effect. If you're unfamiliar with that term, orange peel simply means this: when you apply paint onto metal surfaces, especially automotive, there is this pattern that's developed, and it's typically wet sanded out. And that pattern that you see on this paint surface is what you call orange peel, because it looks very similar to the surface of an orange. So there you are. The overall shape of this model is very accurate to the real thing. This is a fully opening model. The shut lines are very good for a full opening model. The wheel detail is pretty darn good as well. I wouldn't expect tire scripting on a model at this price point, but it would be nice. The calipers are really good as well. I like the scriptings on there, and it's very legible. The discs are a little set back further than I would like to see. Now we go for both the front wheel and the rear wheel as well. You have this simulated carbon fiber piece here, and Bbuargo is using that same technique that they've been using for all their models when it comes to carbon fiber, and I always call it the Bbuargo effect. It's a very different way of mimicking or reproducing carbon fiber, in that they just use a pattern. It's like a rake across the plastic to give it a pattern. So it's a unique way of doing it. Obviously, if you compare it to the actual carbon fiber, it looks nothing like it, but on a model like this alone, it is a really actually pretty darn cool way of doing it. So moving on to the front of the model. Headlight detail is pretty good as well. I'm actually very impressed with the way that it looks. The grills up front are obviously not perforated. They're not metal pieces. Not surprising for a model at this price point. I do think there's a better way to make this grill look a little more believable, but it is what it is. Moving on to the back of the model. The taillights look really good. The exhaust outlets are deep enough that it doesn't really show that this is not truly a hollow piece, so I like that. The scripting is very nicely done. Again, these are supposed to be mesh grills, and they're not. It's a molded piece. Not surprising for a model at this price point. And you have your carbon fiber diffuser on the back as well, which is nicely done. This is a fully opening model, so everything opens. There we are. No surprise that you see what we call dog legs for the hinges for the trunk or frunk. The hinges for the doors are actually very good from what you can see of them. And then you have this back portion, which is supposed to be an opening for the retractable roof. There's just a plastic piece in here, and no, it's not removable, so there's no additional part that comes that you can actually put that on there. I think that would have been nice, because I'm really not seeing the point in having this open to reveal basically nothing, but they decided to include it for some reason. One thing to keep in mind, when you do have this part open, you don't have access to the motor. So I'll lift this down, lift this up, and there you are. Now, there's not a lot of detail when it comes to the motor back here. Most of it's all molded black, but I do like that there's some depth to what was done here. You have this, again, Bbuargo effect carbon fiber throughout, which looks really good. You also have it in the front as well. The seats, I think the color is just a little bit off. If not, I would definitely not want this shade of color in my Ferrari. It just seems a little too pale for me. Or to me, I should say. Steering wheel has a really nice detail as well. Most of it's all molded black, which again is not surprising at this price point. As you can see, there's no flocking for the carpet on the floor. No surprise there. There actually is a seat belt, but because everything is molded black, it's kind of easy to miss, but it is right there. So that is a seat belt. Okay. And there you are. This is the SF90 Spider by Bbuargo Models. And now to my conclusions. This SF Ferrari by Bbuargo Models is fantastic. I was thoroughly impressed. The shut lines on this model are very good for an opening model. The overall shape is very realistic. The wheel detail is very good. Even a unique Bbuargo carbon fiber is very good. Some of the knocks against this model, definitely the lack of carpeting, which again, is nothing surprising. The dashboard was definitely all blacked out with just a little color in there. That's not really accurate either. But for a model at this price point, keep in mind, this is roughly around $60 US, is a darn good bargain for what you get, especially if you're seeking a model for its shelf presence. And that's actually why I chose this model. It's for its shelf presence. I already have a high-end SF90 that I have. It's by BBR. It's a very good looking model, but it's not red. I wanted a red Ferrari as well. And so again, this model I would probably never display opened because of some obvious reasons, but putting it next to the higher end Ferrari SF90, I have no problem doing that. I'm not embarrassed. That's how good this model is. This model comes from the series which is called the Race and Play by Bbuargo. There's also what we call the Signature series. That product line is supposed to be a step above the Race and Play, so there is a little more detail. It has some photo etched items on it, specifically on the deck lid. On the Race and Play, it's a sticker for the Ferrari. The Ferrari on the Signature is an actual photo etched piece, so it is a little bit better. But I have a hard time paying out almost double the cost of this Race and Play for the Signature because I don't see that much difference in the two. Hopefully I should have a Signature version so you can take a look and see what I'm referring to. I also, as I just mentioned, have an SF90 in the BBR, which is really nicely detailed, and that's coming up too, just so you can get an idea of the differences between again a basic Bbuargo model versus a higher end SF Ferrari by BBR. Bottom line is that if you're looking for a model that has really great paint and you don't want to shell a lot of money, the Bbuargo is the way to go. It's a very good model, and it is a step in the right direction for this company.
They have the Ferrari license. They don't make a ton of Ferraris, even though they have the Ferrari license. But when they do, the latest products they've been putting out have been very good. Now, if they can just get us some perforated grills, now we'd really be talking. Please like and subscribe. That is the best way I'm going to know that you're enjoying these videos. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you next time.